Today I am reading in the middle of Matthew's Gospel. It has 28 chapters. Chapter 14 we hear Jesus' cousin John the Baptist beheaded, and then we see Jesus feeds 5,000 people, and also he goes on healing a lot of people and walking on water. So this is Stefan Hager, Switzerland. I'm reading for you alongside 35 verses. Matthew chapter 14, again, you can read from any Bible. Take the Bible which is available to you. And don't forget, it's the Word of God. Let's see what happens with Hazrat Yahya, which is the cousin of Jesus, last prophet of the Old Testament, who was the greatest of all prophets ever before the Messiah came. Let's see what it says. At that time, Herod was a ruler, and he was ruler of Galilee and Perea, and heard reports about Jesus. He said to his attendants, "That is John the Baptist. He has risen from the dead. That's why he has so much power to do miracles." Herod had arrested John. He had tied him up and put him in prison because of Herodias. She was the wife of Herod and of Herod's brother Philip. John had been saying to Herod, "It is against the law for you to have her." Herod wanted to kill John, but why he couldn't? He was afraid of the people, because they thought John was a prophet. Do you believe John the Baptist was a prophet? Do you believe Hazrat Yahya, he was the last prophet? He wore a leather belt round his waist. He ate locusts and wild honey. He was a strange figure. Around the Jordan River he baptized people. But what happened on Herod's birthday? We read on verse 6. The daughter of Herodias, that's the wife of Herod, she danced for Herod and his guests. She pleased Herod very much, so he promised with an oath to give her anything she asked for. Her mother told her what to say, so the girl said to Herod, "Give me the head of John the Baptist on a big plate." Cruel. Verse 9. The king was very upset. He thought of his promise and his dinner guests, so he told one of his men to give her what she asked for. Herod had John's head cut off in the prison. His head was brought on a big plate and given to the girl. She then carried it to her mother. John's disciples came and took his body and buried it. Then they went and told Jesus. What do you think what Jesus did? He needed a break, I'm sure. Verse 13. Jesus heard what had happened to John. He wanted to be alone, so he went in a boat to a quiet place. The crowds heard about this. They followed him on foot from the towns. When Jesus came ashore, he saw a large crowd. He felt deep concern for them. He healed their sick people. When it was almost evening, the disciples came to him. "There is nothing here," they said. "It's already getting late. Send the crowds away." Jesus replied, "They don't need to go away. You give them something to eat." "We have only, 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish. They answered. "Bring them here to me," he said. Then Jesus directed the people to sit down on the grass. He took the 5 loaves and the 2 fish. He looked up to heaven and he gave thanks to God, his Father. He broke the loaves into pieces. Then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. All of them ate, and they were satisfied. The disciples picked up 12 baskets of leftover pieces. The number of men who ate was about 5,000. Women and children also ate. Do you believe that this really happened? Let's read on. We read on that Jesus walks on the water and also that he heals many people. Verse 22, chapter 14. Right away, Jesus made the disciples get into the boat. He had them go on ahead of him to the other side of the Sea of Galilee. Then he sent the crowd away. After he had sent them away, he went up on a mountainside by himself to pray. When evening came, and when he was praying, he was there alone. So Jesus spent time with his Father. You believe that? If God is his Father, then he must be God too. Look what we read on. The boat was already a long way from the land. It was being pounded by the waves because the wind was blowing against it. Early in the morning, Jesus went out to the disciples. They were in the boat on the lake, in the wind. What happened? He walked on the lake. They saw him walking on the lake and they were terrified. It is a ghost, they said. And they cried out in fear. Right away, Jesus called to them, "Be brave, it is I. Don't be afraid." "Lord, it is you," Peter asked. "If it is, tell me to come to you on the water." Now Jesus tries to walk on the water. Let's see. "Come on," Jesus said. So Peter got out of the boat. He walked on the water towards Jesus. But when Peter saw the wind, he was afraid. He began to sink. He cried out, "Lord, save me." Look at this picture. "Lord, save me." Right away, Jesus reached out his hand and caught him. "Your faith is so small," he said. "Why did you doubt me?" When they climbed into the boat, the wind died down. Then those in the boat worshipped Jesus. They said, You really are what? The Son of God." They crossed over the lake and landed at Gennesaret. The men who lived there recognized Jesus, so they sent a message all over the nearby countryside. People brought all their sick to Jesus. They begged him to let those who were sick just touch the edge of his clothes. And all who touched him were healed. Have a nice day.